Let me come to you directly, Senator Agege. I mean, people have said that one of the reasons that it's difficult to discuss gender issues, even at the National Assembly, is because of the issue of numbers. So you don't have enough support for that. But is it just a case of numbers that we're looking at, why we don't have enough support at that level?
Thank you very much. Let me begin by thanking the organizers of this event for inviting me to participate in this ceremony marking the 25th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration of Platform for Action to advance the goals of equality, development, protection, and peace of all women everywhere. Before I answer that, let me also state at the outset that I listened to the remarks of Edward Kellon, who is the UN resident coordinator, elucidating on the sociology and the psychology behind the commission of these crimes. I like to adopt those remarks as mine, and then moving forward, I like to speak, on what gains, what practical steps, concrete steps we've taken to advance the goals set out in this declaration, including but not limited to the declaration of a state of emergency imposed by the members of the Governors Forum against crimes against women, and then also the declaration of zero tolerance by the leadership of the National Assembly. Now, let me state this. We've made a lot of gains since this 1995 Beijing Declaration. We have clearly in our extant laws, laws that recognize and forbid domestic abuse, sexual and gender-based violence against women. Most of these laws are predicated first and derive their strength from Chapter 4, Section 34, Subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution, as amended, which provides for the respect for the dignity of all persons. And let me also state, before specifically answering your question, that all of the laws that we have made that are derivable from this Chapter 4, this Section 34 of the Constitution, all prescribe penal consequences, strict penal consequences that are consistent with global benchmarks. I will go into some of those laws later on, but let me answer your question now to begin with. It's not a question of numbers, frankly, in the National Assembly, because there's unanimity amongst members that crimes of this nature not be tolerated, and that is why most recently the bill that I introduced, which was just alluded to by the Honorable Minister for Women Affairs, as the bill prohibiting sexual harassment in tertiary institutions. It was a bill, even though introduced by me, was actually, you can say, a bill of the entire National Assembly, or let me say, a bill of the entire Senate, because basically all of my colleagues, came on board as a co-sponsor of that bill.
Yeah, but the House of Reps are yet to pass it. We're waiting on them for that.
Yes. So now, addressing the issue of the numbers, as Governor Fayemi has indicated not too long ago, we have these issues of cultural and religious sensibilities that must be recognized by everyone. This is why we have these discrepancies, between the treatment of the age requirements in both the penal codes and the criminal codes, while the criminal code provisions of the Constitution that has provided for age of maturity to be 18 years, you still find that the penal code still talks about 14 years for maturity and 16 years for strict liability offenses when dealing with educators, guardians, and people to whom the younger ones are entrusted. Now, we believe that the only way that issue could have been addressed, is by the passing of the VAP Act and also the Child's Rights Act, because this challenge of the age requirements addressed in both acts. So when I hear my friend and governor, chairman of the Governors Forum, talking about the advances and the consensus reached by the governors that we should encourage the girl-child education, that's good. But that's not the main issue. The main issue is how do we address these discrepancies dealing with this issue of age. And I've also heard the moderator, I believe, or maybe Governor Fayemi, yes, to also talk about the improvement and the advances being made in the Kaduna State legislature. Of course, I'm very, very close to the governor of the state. He's a very, very good friend and brother, Governor Rufai, and I see him just like Governor Fayemi as a big-time reformer. And I'm not under any illusion that he will do the needful. But having said that, I should just point out, that we cannot achieve these goals set out in the Beijing Declaration by doing cosmetic amendments, to these acts. What we are looking for is already provided for in both the VAP Act and the Child Rights Act, and all that is required is to have this domesticated and in these various states. Of course, I thank Governor Fayemi. I'm not surprised that he's had this domesticated in his place. I didn't expect any less from him, frankly. I think all of the states in the Southwest have domesticated, except I believe Ondo State, if I'm right. I think the governors need to do more to engage more, so that we can have look for a way to have the states, domesticate this provision. But let me also make this clear. The Constitution clearly already recognizes, the age of maturity is 18 years anyway. If the ground norm has already provided for 18 years to be the age of maturity, why are we still laboring with 14 years for minors for purposes of rape and 16 years for purposes of indecent assault, and so on? I think we should sit down and adopt 18 years.
All right. I hear Senator Ovie Agege, your final words tonight, please.
Thank you once again for the opportunity. I want to thank my brother, the chairman of the Governors Forum, for the commitment he just made tonight. That is a revolutionary commitment. It is a historic commitment, and I'm sure he understands that we are going to hold him to that commitment, working with his brother governors to domesticate not just the VAP Act, but I believe also the Child Rights Act. But let me also say this. While having these negotiations with our governors, I think we need to make clear that when we push for the domestication of VAP and the Child Rights Act, it does not necessarily have to be wholesale domestication. We can go ahead, as the governor, as the chairman of the Governors Forum has pointed out, by pointing me to Section 29, Subsection 4 of the Constitution. We can, while doing the domestication, you can provide for the marriage exception. If you provide for the marriage exception, there's still a lot of very good things, in both acts, both the VAP Act and also the Child's Rights Act. Once you provide for the marriage exception, you can go ahead and domesticate the leftovers. Now, apart from that, there's also this issue, the benefits accruing from this sex offenders register, which the governor also alluded to admirably in the way it has been implemented in Ekiti State. We like that. In the course of these negotiations too, with your colleagues, Your Excellency, it may also help that in the absence of the marriage exception, this be made part of the domesticated local statute. But if that does not work, we can also have this as a standalone. We can have the sex offenders register as a standalone piece of legislation for the various states. Now, having said that, let me also speak to the position eloquently put forward by the police, I believe, public relations officer. You've spoken very, very well, and you've raised the issue of consent with concerns regarding.
Yes. And also just to remember that these are your final words, Senator Agege, just to make it really brief because we need to go actually.
Yes. On the issue of silence, there's a reason these victims remain silent or reluctant to make reports. They do so because one, they are not so sure that we have the police investigate, and to the extent that the police does investigate, they're not so sure that they will go ahead to proceed with prosecution. So if you give the commitment, which I've also seen tonight in the way and manner you've made this presentation, assuming and believe that you're speaking for the police force, I think that will give confidence to this victim to step forward, and make their reports. So once again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to participate in this event. Thank you.